I'm here with JT Freeman, who is building TrustD. Thanks for joining me. Could you tell us just a brief overview of what the project is and why you're building it?
Hey, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so TrustD is basically an attempt at a solution that for a problem that I think is especially close for people in Bitcoin Cash, but it also is becoming more and more a problem in general, which is that right now with social media, there's a really hard uh, I guess, pathway for finding correct information. And correct doesn't have to mean like factually correct, right? It's almost in the sense of, is this even a real person that I'm talking to? And that's kind of a weird situation to be in. And people are super susceptible to hearing tons of things that are false, or they're just paid for. And so what really got me interested in trying to work on this problem was I saw this it was actually a user on Reddit, which wasn't a real person. It was a GPT-3 chatbot AI, and it was sitting on Ask Reddit and answering questions to people that, just every minute it would answer some question, and nobody noticed it. Not a single person noticed that it was a bot. It took like a week, and the only reason was, hey, why is this person posting every 1 minute? And I was like, wow, this is actually absolutely crazy. Like this is what the internet's going to be like in the future, unless people actually find a solution on this. And I know social media companies don't have a solution for this, especially for Bitcoin Cash. There's been so much problem with page shilling and just weird things. So I think across the whole crypto space, it's super bad. And the same is the case for like anything related to politics or large corporations. They have these teams of people. But I think we're moving to a point where it's going to be so inexpensive to just push fake information, that's going to be sort of game changing. It's going to be in the same way that the internet was when spam first came about. And nobody had filters, nobody had anything. All of a sudden, everything was just overrun, right? And nobody knew what to do. But the lucky thing with that is it was just the same message being posted over and over and over again, right? So it's relatively technically easy to solve that problem. For this, with natural language, I don't think the problem is very simple. And I don't think you can approach it in the same way of, let's detect if this is a bot. And the reason I say that is because these sort of AI networks are basically, as soon as you're able to do that, those same ideas are able to be incorporated into that bot to make it even better. So you can't approach it from that way at all. Like that's no longer going to work. So what TrustD is aiming to do is to provide a sort of decentralized web of trust system where, say for you, right? If I know you, and I know you're not a bot, I think, I can look at who you trust or distrust, and more than likely the people that that are your friends that trust, I can take that into account too, and I can go a few levels of indirection where it's relatively safe. And so the idea is to basically provide a layer where people can provide their own trust rankings of other people, have that linked to other people, and be able to run your own trust algorithm to rank content generated by people across the internet. So how this works is, and this is the part that I started on before the hackathon, was trying to come up with a algorithm to sort of make this work. And other people have worked on it too. And I think I have kind of a cool spin on it. Because one of the big problems is it's very easy to Sybil or DOS a lot of the existing algorithms for doing distributed trust calculations. And so I tried to come up with a new algorithm that I think is pretty immune to those problems. It basically propagates this like energy from node to node and normalizes all of it. It's Sybil resistant, so someone can have a million friends. You can have loops of friends that are intended to push something, and it's not going to be able to affect someone else who is a distantly connected to that person. So that's sort of how I guess maybe not the best explanation, but I'll just leave it at that. It calculates trust for people. The application for it is a browser plugin. You have a Bitcoin Cash address. The public key from that, you can verify that this account is associated with this public key. You can provide that publicly, sign a message, and the actual browser plugin is what I'm working on for the hackathon. And then so from there, how you actually interact with it. Say you go on Reddit right now and you go on some post, you have upvote and downvote buttons. So when you click upvote, that actually adjusts that person's trust ranking for you. So it's built completely into the UI. You could do this for other sites that don't have, upvote or downvotes too. But Reddit's just kind of a nice one because it already has buttons for distrusting this person. And normally, I think if you're using Reddit correctly, downvote is normally for, just like this person doesn't have a legitimate opinion. Like this is something I don't really want to see in the future. Like it's not a good argument. I don't just disagree with it. It's like, at least that's how I use it. So yeah, so it hooks in with that and basically updates your own local trust rankings. So right off the bat, you already get a better experience on social media because a lot of social media doesn't actually take into account who you like or dislike. And Reddit's a great example of this. You have, just like people who are constantly wrong or whatever, showing up high. And why is that the case? You've downvoted them like 10 times. You should never see them again. So yeah, that's kind of a quick overview. The idea is to be able to connect with people, share these trust rankings and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I'm going to get that far with it during the few days, but that's sort of the overall vision for it, is to have this system where you can basically just have a way improved user experience with social media by utilizing all of the people that you know to be people and their friends and so on, and being able to quickly do that own calculation yourself and sort content the way that you want instead of how some company wants.
Very cool. Yeah, that's exciting, and it's especially exciting to hear that you're doing it as a browser plugin. I think that's going to be very cool. Could you tell us what tools are you using that are enabling the Bitcoin Cash integration into this project?
Yeah, so I'm using liboff, Bitcore libcash. Those are the two big tools. Yeah, and I didn't really touch on much on the Bitcoin side. I think so. You could just use whatever and have a public key, but I think it's really nice, the different social networks that are integrating Bitcoin Cash. I think that's one of the coolest ideas where you can send money to, and you especially want it to be to a real person, not just a bot that's farming. So yeah, I'd really love to see, maybe when this is more built out, the ability to yeah, like tip people. You could have a tip button like embedded into the page. So that's sort of the longer term idea. Right now, it's really only being used as far as a public key system. So yeah, I mean, but hopefully it would be more of a wallet side thing later on.
Sure, that sounds like a reasonable long-term goal. And just for the last bit, could you just describe what you think, just out of curiosity, what do you think or what has been the biggest challenge for putting something like this together? Was it the algorithm or are there any specific implementation challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time reading with the algorithm. I don't know if that's really the hard part though, because I think there's sort of an obvious solution to it. But um, the way that the browser plugin works is uh, it has to sort of inject itself into a page and take all of and maybe this will sound funny because the other part sounds more complicated, but it's actually not a like super crazy thing, right? It's just sort of doing this ranking. But yeah, actually just dealing with the sorting Reddit comments. Like sorting's easy, but actually having that be something that's a fast experience is pretty hard for pages that have tons of people on it, tons of different comments. I think that's probably the hardest part. Right now I have it pretty fast with really big posts. It takes less than, like I think 200 milliseconds or something last time I checked. So that's okay. But yeah, I think with a lot of communication with the backend, that's probably going to be higher, which isn't great. So yeah, I think that's kind of the big part is nobody wants to use something that is supposed to make everything better if it makes every page take longer. So that's kind of the big nut to crack. And it's really hard with web technology, like I mean not web technology in general, but just modifying the page itself in browsers isn't isn't really well optimized for browsers. Like they're not really designed to have things rearranged after it's already been loaded. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that does sound like as much as it's not necessarily like super, or it's not the core of the idea. I can imagine that being the more difficult side of the project. Yeah, so thanks for taking the time to walk us through your project, and best of luck in the rest of the hackathon.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's great talking to you.